That would just
Let's
be
start again.
awesome.
I had it paused and not going, so we're going now.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Stumble. I'm one of the Sunday school teachers here at White Lake United Methodist Church. And I sure hope that you're glad to be back in school in person. To get to see your friends is just amazing. Everybody needs social interaction. And I just hope that we can stay in person in school for the rest of the school year. I just pray that that happens, and that'll really raise everybody's spirits, I think, if we can continue to see each other and still be safe. Last week, Ruth talked about a man in the Bible. His name was Job. And Job was going through a lot of really tough times. He finally got to the end of his rope, right? I bet if you ask your parents, your grandparents, aunts, uncles, even friends, they would tell you that there has been a time in their life when they just broke. Things were going so wrong for them that the difficulties that they faced, there was nothing that seemed to go right, and they finally just threw up their hands, looked to the heavens, and said, "Why me, God? Why can't anything go right? What did I do to deserve these trials?" Right? Well, maybe you've even been there. This is what Job did, and God actually answered him. It wasn't what he wanted to hear, but in the scripture that Ruth read last week, God didn't tell Job why he was suffering. But he did tell Job all about how he was the creator of everything, and that he was in control. He went on to tell Job about how powerful he was to create everything from nothing, and how creative he was to have made so many different things, and how everything he created was made to work together. And he put humans in charge of it all. God is amazing. So, Ruth showed you a video last week. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. It just shows you all the things that God created, and big and small, to the biggest thing, the sky, the ocean, to the smallest thing, the little ant. You look in a microscope and you see the cells of plants and animals, okay? And it's every single thing. God created it, and what did he create it from? Nothing. He had nothing to start with. We can create things, like we make things, we draw things on paper, or we even make cupcakes out of other ingredients, okay? But we always had something to start with. We always have things that we can make things out of. God didn't have that. God had nothing. So, if we look back at that video, I want to read you a few things about the things that God has created, just to help you understand how amazing it is actually that he made these things out of nothing. So let's talk about the ocean first, okay? Oceans are huge. If you took the tallest mountain, that would be Mount Everest, and you turned it upside down to put it in the middle of the ocean, it would still be far, far, far away from the bottom. It wouldn't reach the bottom of the ocean. Not only are the oceans huge, but we've only just begun to understand them. We've explored only 5 to 10% of the ocean. Really? That's not very much. And scientists think there are thousands of species in the ocean that we haven't even discovered yet. We don't even know about them. Thousands. That's amazing. Let's talk about daylight. Here's a fun fact. It takes about 8 minutes and 20 seconds for the light ray from the sun to reach the earth. That's a long ways away for light to travel. How about stars? God created a lot of stars. Scientists estimated there are 1 septillion stars. That's a 1 with 24 zeros after it in the universe. And some scientists think that's probably a low guess. Wow, that's a lot of stars. How about rain and lightning? Lightning is big and powerful. Most lightning strikes are 2 to 3 miles long, and they have 100 million volts of power. That's a lot, 100 million volts of power. Wow. How about horses? Horses run fast, around 27 miles per hour on average. The fastest horse ever could run 55 miles per hour. That's really fast. That's how fast we used to go on the expressway in our cars. And a horse could run that fast. Holy cow. Here's another surprising fact. Horses can't vomit. Oh my goodness. That's not good. Sometimes you just have to get rid of what's in your belly. But they can't. Maybe that's why sometimes they just go down. Hawks and eagles. Eagles' wings are huge and heavy, so it takes a lot of energy to flap their wings. Instead, they catch air currents to soar and glide upon. That's why when you see eagles, they're not flapping their wings like other birds. They're soaring through the air as they catch different wind currents. Because it's a lot of work for them to move their wings. One eagle was observed to flap her wings for only 2 minutes total in a whole hour of flying. Wow, just gliding and gliding. So, God made all these impressive, powerful things. So what's one thing that you would create if you could make something? What would you make? I want you to ponder that and maybe tell somebody in your family what it is that if you could make something, if you were God and you could make something, what would you make? I bet it would be something really awesome. Something you've always wanted to see or experience. Okay? So God is the creator. He made our whole world and everything in it. Even the things people make are made out of things God created. Like I said, the cupcakes. No one but God can create something out of nothing. He's the only one. So, after Job heard all that God had to say, he was amazed by God. He couldn't think of anything else to say to God because he was so amazed by how God created everything and cares for his creation. Now, we may not be able to create as well as God, but here's something amazing about the role God gave us when it comes to creation. God said that he was going to put us in charge of everything that he created. We humans are in charge. So if he made you and me, and he wants to partner with us to take care of this creation, what's one thing you can do to take care of God's creation? And I'll bet you've thought about this before. I bet you've talked about this in school. Probably not about God, but you've talked about helping the earth, certainly. So there are a few things I do at home that I feel like might help take care of God's creation. One of them is I don't just run the water. And when I do run the water, I run it as small as I can to accomplish what I need to do. So when I'm rinsing dishes, it's just a little trickle of water to get the soap off the dishes. When I brush my teeth, I turn the water off. I'd only have it on just to get my toothbrush wet, and I turn it back off. I don't take long showers. If the less water I use, the more resources there are left for other people to use, and we need to conserve our resources. Another thing I do, it drives my kids crazy, but I don't throw anything away that I can recycle. Cardboard, metal, plastic, I wash everything. If I open a can of soup, I wash the can. If I empty a sour cream container, I wash the sour cream container. And I put it in my recycle bin that goes to recycling to be made into other things. Just like God, we can make things out of other things. And the more we recycle and do that and reuse things, the less we have to create and use, and the less resources in our world that we use up. I turn the lights off. I turn the heat down. There are many things I do that are simple, so simple. If you make them part of your life, you're taking care of God's creation. And the amazing part of his creation, we don't want to destroy that. He would be devastated if we didn't save and honor what he created. Just like when you make something really awesome at school and you bring it home and your mom hangs it on the refrigerator or she displays it. If you brought it home and said, "Mom, here's my creation. Don't you love it?" And she said, "Yeah, it's awesome." And then she crinkled it up and threw it in the garbage. How would you feel? You'd be devastated. Your heart would be broken. That's God. God put us in charge. God wants us to take care of his creation because he worked hard at it. And he loves his creation. And he wants us to love it and take care of it too. Okay, moving on. We're going to talk about, remember in the video they had a microscope? And they were looking at really small things, small parts of everything. How about let's look at what we're made out of? What makes Bob, Bob? What makes me, me? What makes Ruth, Ruth? Not one of us is alike, just like snowflakes. Not one of us is exactly alike. Well, there's an exception. There are twins, okay? Triplets. But we're going to put that on a back burner for now. Everybody has what's called DNA. And that's what makes us different from everybody else because we have such a different combination of DNA. Okay? So he made the moon and the stars, all the animals, even the weather. But every cell in our body is made up of DNA. DNA is like a code God wrote to make you you. It's made up of 4 chemicals, and scientists refer to them by their initials, A, C, T, and G. Those are the 4 letters that make up the code of who you are. Okay, we're going to make A, C, T, and G. Those are the letters that make up everything that we are. This is the DNA. Now, how many different combinations can we come up with this A, C, T, and G? Okay? So how about if we go A, C, T, G. Now down here we're going to go C, T, G, A. And here we're going to go T, G, A, C. See what we're doing? I put the A at the end. I put the T or the C at the end. Now I'm going to put the T at the end. G, A, C, T. Well, there's 4 combinations of those 4 letters. Okay? Now, let's make them all backwards. G, T, C, A. A, G, T, C. C, A, G, T, and T, C, A, G. We still don't have any repeated combinations. Okay. What if we put the middle on the outside? T, G, A, C. G, A, C, T. How about A, C, T, G, and C, T, G, A? Wow, that's a lot of combinations with just 4 letters. We could go on and on and on with this. And I don't know how many combinations of that there are. I haven't figured it out mathematically. I think it might be like 64 or something, but no, it's probably more than that. But now I'm going to tell you something that's truly amazing about this. Okay? We can make a ton of different combinations with the letters. We only had 4 letters to work with. Did you know that each cell in your body is made up of 3 billion of these letters? There's 3 billion of these letters in our body. That's a lot of possible combinations. Okay? Your body has around 37.2 trillion cells. So each cell has 3 billion. And there's 37 trillion cells. Your mind can't even imagine how many different combinations there are. And that's God's creation. Every one of us is created specifically by God. Here's another amazing thing about your DNA. All those letters are arranged together in a twisted strand. Okay? If you took the DNA strands in your body, or my body, and you untwisted them and stretched them out end for end, it would stretch to Jupiter and back 10 times. What? How far away is Jupiter? That's all in our body. From Jupiter and back 10 times is all twisted up in my little body. Not so little. Your little body's even littler. I can't believe it. That's how detailed the coding is in your body, in my body, in Bob's body. God was so specific and detailed to make us. Sometimes you might feel really small or unimportant. But remember how God made you so incredibly complex that your DNA could stretch that far. God is the creator, and he put a lot of detail into his creation. So we're learning that God is the creator, but not everyone believes that. You have probably heard some other ideas at school, especially if you're getting a little older. Sometimes it seems like science and faith don't get along very well. Like maybe if we want to believe in God, we have to ignore science. Or if we want to believe science, we have to say God didn't create everything. But can we believe in science and God? Yes, we can. I know a lot of people who do. God's the one who made science, so we're going to explore how science matches up really well with what God said about creation. So, let's think about that eagle that we were talking about soaring, okay? And how it would catch currents in the air. Those air currents, God created. The eagle, God created, okay? I'm going to make what a lot of you might recognize. It's a paper airplane. We have real airplanes too, right? Helicopters. All right. There's a paper airplane. If I send it away, it's going to fly, right? There you go. It catches the air current and it flies. God made scientific principles. One of those is aerodynamics. That's a fancy way to describe the wind currents that allow birds to fly. Much later, humans used this principle to create airplanes, but it was all based on God's creation of aerodynamics. His perfect design that allows birds to fly. God is the creator of aerodynamics, which is an important principle of science. See how they're kind of connected? Okay. How about the moon? Let's think about the moon. It's a pretty big thing, right? Not as big as the Earth, but it's big. So, Science teaches us that the moon controls the tides. Even though the moon is way far away, and it doesn't really seem like it would connect to the ocean at all, it's the gravitational pull of the moon that controls how far the tide comes in. Okay? It's not even touching the earth, but it's still controlling something on the earth. That's just weird. So, all right, here's our moon. And here's Earth and the tides, maybe. Okay? What happens when the moon gets in a certain place? Can you see what's happening here? The Earth is controlling the tides. There's a gravitational pull. That's really not what's happening here. This is electricity. There's electricity around this balloon that's creating an attraction to this. I guess it's I don't know what it is. It's like a New Year's Eve Tudor thing that's got little thingies. So God perfectly designed the moon to control the tides. The moon is like his remote control telling the waves to stop and come no further. That is pretty cool. God created the moon. God created how the moon affects the earth. And that's science. We can back that with science. But science was developed on principles that God gave us. Okay? So, after we've explored today, how can science help you see God more? Well, if any of you do go into science and you're looking in a microscope, I hope that you think about God and how intricately he made everything. And I hope many of you do go into science because we need more scientists than ever before. You're going to make such wonderful, wonderful progress with things that we don't even know about yet. And that's what it takes is curiosity and exploration of God's creation. We need to explore what God has given us. And I want you to remember that when you go into a science background. Well, we're going to try something else today. If you have, this is a cupcake holder. It's just a little tiny one. If you have regular size ones, it probably would work better. Okay? And remember we were talking about the stars? God created the stars and constellations. There's patterns of stars that make different pictures. And there are scientists out there who study those pictures and those constellations. And some of you might be very interested in that and start to study the constellations. But you're going to make your own constellation, okay? Take that cupcake, and if you have a regular sized cupcake thing, it would probably be better because then, like, you can put it over the top of your, like a flashlight. If you have a flashlight, you can put it over the top of your flashlight and it'll work best, I think. Okay? But we're going to use a cell phone for our flashlight. And I have poked holes in here in the shape of a heart. So we're going to see if we can't see that heart and make our own constellation. Okay? Because I love you, I made a heart. So that was kind of cool. You're able to make your own constellation. You can make any picture you want to. Just poke the holes, draw the picture on your cupcake holder, and then poke holes around it where whatever you're making. A square or a rectangle or a star. You can make a star. That's pretty cool. Make anything you want to, a rainbow. And then you got to go someplace dark and put your flashlight on it, and you might be able to put it up on your ceiling maybe. I don't know. If you have a good enough flashlight. But I love that we can create. We get to be a creator just like God was a creator. But remember that we're never going to be as good as him because he created it out of nothing. And we have to have all the stuff he created to make what we do. Okay? So in conclusion, I would like you to remember, you can create many things. You can control many things. But God is the ultimate original creator. God is the greatest creator. He created everything out of nothing. We can't do that. No one can. And God is in control of everything. Nothing slips by him. God knows all and can do anything. Relax in that knowledge and know God loves you and wants nothing but the best for you. I love you, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Stay safe.